When the Mughal Empire began to crumble, a new power emerged from the western Deccan, the Marathas. Fierce, resilient, and determined to shape their destiny, they swiftly carved out a vast dominion across the subcontinent. But their rise would soon clash with another rising force, the British East India Company. This is the story of the Anglo-Maratha Wars, 3 fierce confrontations that shaped the fate of India. The Marathas, under the leadership of Peshwas, had expanded far and wide after the decline of Aurangzeb. Their confederacy, though decentralized, boasted powerful leaders: Scindias of Gwalior, Holkars of Indore, Bonsals of Nagpur, and Gakwads of Baroda. Yet, this very decentralization would become their Achilles' heel. Let's begin with the First Anglo-Maratha War. After the death of Peshwa Madhavrao I in 1772, a succession crisis broke out. His younger brother, Naranrao, was murdered, and his infant son, Madhavrao II, was declared Peshwa under the regency of Nana Fadnavis. Raghunath Rao, the uncle of the murdered Narayan, wanted to become Peshwa and sought the help of the British. In return, he promised them control over Salsette. In 1775, the Treaty of Surat was signed, and the First Anglo-Maratha War began. The war dragged on for nearly a decade. Despite their internal differences, the Maratha chiefs stood united. The British were checked at every step. After a string of military and diplomatic deadlocks, the Treaty of Salbai was signed in 1782. The British recognized Madhavrao II as the Peshwa, and in return, the Marathas agreed not to support the French. For a moment, peace returned, but it would not last long. By the turn of the 19th century, Lord Wellesley's aggressive expansionist policy came into play. He introduced the Subsidiary Alliance, trying to bring Indian rulers under British control. When the Peshwa Baji Rao II faced rebellion by the Holkars in 1802, he fled to the British for protection. In return, he signed the Treaty of Bassein, a move that would trigger the Second Anglo-Maratha War. The Treaty of Bassein was viewed as a betrayal by the other Maratha chieftains. War broke out in 1803. The British, under Arthur Wellesley and Lake, fought fierce battles at Assay Argawan and Laswari. The Maratha chiefs, Scindia Bonsal and Holkar, were defeated one by one. The British gained large territories. The Maratha Confederacy began to unravel, but the final blow would come in 1817. The Third Anglo-Maratha War began with a rebellion led by the Pindaris, irregular bands supported by Maratha nobles. Lord Hastings launched a massive campaign, not just against the Pindaris, but also against the last vestiges of Maratha resistance. In 1818, after a series of crushing defeats, including the symbolic Battle of Koregaon, Peshwa Baji Rao II surrendered. He was pensioned off and sent to Bethor near Cawnpur. The Maratha Confederacy was dismantled. Their territories were absorbed into the British Empire. The age of Maratha power was over. 3 wars, 1 confederacy, a subcontinent changed forever. The Anglo-Maratha Wars were not just battles over land, but over sovereignty, identity, and the future of India. In their defeat, the Marathas paved the way for nearly a century of British rule. But their spirit, their defiance, would live on.